Hello everyone and welcome to a new video. If you read the title for this, you know that I am reading Hellsing for the first time by Kota Hirano. This one is a manga series that is completed in 3 deluxe volumes like this. And I got this from my friend the same time I got all my Berserks, or like except the last 2. So it's been in the plan for a long time to read it, but I wanted to finish Berserk first before I started this one. And then I started One Piece and it was a whole thing. But I'm gonna start it now. I'm very excited. I'm gonna vlog it as I usually do these kinds of vlogs. And I'm very, very excited. I think it has to do with vampires. Maybe the Second World War. I actually don't know, but I'm excited to find out. I don't know plots, etc. Who needs plots when you can just open it and find out? Oh, you can see the camera in the thing. But yeah, let's open this because it's very fun to have the deluxe editions to open. I hope you're excited for my tiny journey because it's only going to be 3 videos. This is only 3 Hellsing deluxes. Very curious to see if I will like it. I didn't know anything about Berserk before I started that either. So, and I knew very little of One Piece when I started that. Oh, I have my plastic trash right behind me. It was very hard to reach. Okay. So I'm gonna take off the little flat thing. I'm gonna put it here. And then we just have this. Oh, this smells so nice. And I'm gonna open it. It's very red. Berserk was very black. So yeah. Oh, okay. That is a lot of chapters, but I don't think it doesn't say anything about like the separation into volumes. It's only chapters. Because like Berserk had like volume 1, volume 2, volume 3. Does it not have volumes? Or did I just not bother putting them in the deluxe? No idea. But as you can see, there's a lot of chapters, and we're gonna read from Vampire Hunter until D3. So, ooh, the art. Oh, it's so stunning. I forget sometimes that like, obviously the deluxe editions, the art is like, I was gonna say magnified. I don't even know what to say, but they get much bigger obviously than in like the smaller volumes, and it's just so pretty. So I guess without further ado, we will start, and I will let you know very soon what's happening. The first chapter is called Vampire Hunter. Let's go. Okay. Interesting enough, the different chapters are called orders. Is it because like he takes an order from Hellsing, or is it because it's like an order of vampires? I don't know yet. We open up with a dude called Alucard, and he's moon gazing. He's like, "Are you not keeping up here?" Alucard is a funny name because it is Dracula backwards. I don't know why I say backwards like that. Backwards. And I only know this because there's a character named Alucard in Chase of Magic where we use Schwab, and everyone was joking that he is a vampire because of this, and that's why that has just been stuck in my mind forever. So the fact that the main character here is called Alucard, I assume the author did on purpose because it is Dracula backwards. And we are in this village. There is this kind of vicar priest dude that has been eating on the villages. He's a vampire, and a lot of ghouls have been made. When a vampire feeds on humans that are not virgins, they just turn into ghouls and are like servants to the vampire, and if you kill the vampire, all the ghouls will die. But if they feed on a virgin, the person will turn into a vampire, and that's the only way for the vampire to reproduce. So the Alucard shows up and is like, hello, and then it's like, I'm a vampire hunter. And then they all shoot him, and then the vicar dude is like, haha, I took you down. And then he rises up again because he's like, a vampire cannot be shot. So Alucard is a vampire and works with Hellsing, who takes care of these cases with supernatural cases. I don't know if they only hunt vampires. I don't know if more mythical creatures exist in this world yet, but at least they hunt vampires. And he's on their side. We don't know why yet. Maybe he was turned by a vampire and hates them. Maybe they killed his whole family or something. Seems a very assumable thing that could have happened. It is a manga after all. And that's why he hates them and hunts them. Oh, maybe he just doesn't like them, who knows. But the vampire, the mean one, had been holding this girl, and then he keep asking her if she's a virgin, and then she says yes, and then he shoots, I think, through her, because like the vampire dude is holding her in front of him, and then he comes back and says there's no survivors to the others, and like, what do you mean you're holding this girl? And he's like, oh, she's actually dead. So she turned into a vampire. I don't know if she will be a huge character. Alucard would teach her the vampire ways, or if she's just like a little part of this first arc. I don't know. We also have Mr. Hellsing, which kind of looks like a professor. And Mr. Hellsing is, I guess, Alucard's boss, maybe the leader of this organization. I have no idea. But look at Mr. Hellsing. Looks pretty. Very pretty. It's kind of what we got so far. He saved this girl, but not really, because she's now a vampire. And now we're on Order 2, as they call it. Master of Monster. So you shall see how this plays out, or if you just go to a new case, or I have no idea. But I'm gonna find out. So let's go. In this one, we got a little flashback. So apparently Sir Hellsing is a woman. I thought it was just a really pretty dude, which totally could have been correct. But we get a flashback to when Hellsing's father was dying. And he says that he wants her to take over the empire, the organization. I think it's their name as well as an organization. And then he dies. And then the instant the uncle, or like the father's brother, is like, no, I want this empire. This little shit kid is not gonna get this. And is hunting her down and wants to kill her. And she runs down into the tunnels. Her father told her to go down there. And she finds a corpse. And then she's like, oh, I would just hide here beside this gross corpse. And then all the people come in and are like, haha, we found you. And then he shoots her in the arm. So some blood splatters in the corpse. Who licks it up. It is Alucard. Surprise. And then Alucard just goes, I was going to say berserk. No pun intended that I talked about berserk earlier. Kills everyone, all the guards, not all the guards, and the uncle. And drinks loads of blood and just goes down on one knee and like, what do you want, master? You are my sir, my sire, my master. I serve the Hellsing family and you're now the new master. And says that the uncle's blood reeks. And that he's not fit to be the master. Actually, did they kill the uncle? We didn't actually see them kill the uncle. The uncle might be alive. Did we see them kill the uncle? I actually don't know. We actually didn't see that they killed the uncle. Like, uncle might return. That's how they started as friends. And then we see Mr. Hellsing, Sir Hellsing in the future think about that day and says so to Alucard. And then Alucard is teaching the new vampire to shoot. I actually don't know their name, which is not going that well. And that's the conversation. And they're like bickering back and forth. Alucard and Sir Hellsing. Very sweet, very sweet. It was the Sir thing that made me assume it was just a very pretty man. But we now have Order 3, which is called Murder Club. So far, very enjoyable, by the way. I love myself some vampires. And I also hinted that they don't like garlic. So I love myself some vampire lore and how everyone does vampire differently. And it all makes sense that this is red, like blood of that vampires like to drink. Or something. I don't know. Okay, so I forgot to say earlier that in the first chapter when he was fighting that one vampire, he used like a special bullet because with special stuff in it that they explained to shoot it because they can't use normal bullets. And then Sir Hellsing has a name that I will probably forget. They said it. Where is it? It is Integra? Integra? Almost like interrogation. I should try to remember. And they stop at this place where these kids have run into this house and basically killed women and children there. I'm calling it kids because they look like small punks. And then Alucard comes in and it's like super easy to beat them. And it says they are a disgrace. And it's like, you guys can't even fight when you don't even have a gun anymore. And it's like that you think that you can be Nosferatu is insane to me. And Nosferatu is obviously the book by Joe Hill. But it is a vampire reference thing. I don't actually know what Nosferatu is, but I know it is like in the vampire lore. Is it? Or am I just imagining it? I don't actually know, but that's just me theorizing right now. And then he beats him super easily, and then the police girl, that's what they call her, the one who's practicing shooting earlier, the new vampire, managed to shoot one of them, and they're like, good girl. And then she's like, wow, that was a huge gun, and I barely felt anything. What is happening to my body? Well, you're turning into a vampire girl. That's what's happening. And then Tegra is reflecting upon the fact that there's been many vampires, or new vampires at least. Like someone is making a vampire production line. Someone probably is. Probably. Now we have Order 4, Sword Dancer 1. Okay, first we have this Catholic father dude complain to another church dude that heretics are running around in England and that this is the vampires. And they say, like, well, Hellsing takes care of it, so you don't need to worry about it. And he's like, but you will let these other heretics go around and take care of our business. And if it was only in England, sir, and now apparently it's also vampires in Ireland. And then he's like, fine, go take care of it. And then he said something like, it was written in an accent and I cannot read when people speak in accents, honestly. And then he said that if they meet Hellsing, it was like, whatever. I didn't actually get what I meant, but it seemed like this person just wanted to take down Hellsing. And then we switch over to Ireland, where Alucard and Police Girl is fighting, and then Alucard is like appreciating how Police Girl is learning. She actually doesn't have a name, so I need to call her Police Girl for now. That she getting better with like shooting with a gun, and then also fighting, like with just fighting. And he says that, but she needs to be better and good for me to make her a blood relative. He also says that she can be a good, it was a word, it really needs to be a Midian. A Midian doesn't mean she's not turned yet. He needs his blood or something to turn completely, because in mid-state maybe she like cannot turn fully, maybe, until he's giving her his blood, his said blood relative, I don't know. But then suddenly she's full of swords, like she got stabbed from the back, like a billion swords or daggers or whatever you want to call it. And then this dude shows up and looks very ominous. And then we switch over to Hellsing headquarters in London, where this dude comes in and says to Tegra that the Vatican section, I can't even read the Roman numbers, section 13, the secret specialized agency Scarlet is on the move, and that they sent one agent in, which is Father Alexander Anderson, the Paladin, and they look really shocked. So I assume that's the person who just stabbed the police girl. And now we are in Order 5, or Chapter 5, Sword of Dancer 2. Let's sword each other, or something. By the way, I forgot to say that earlier, Police Girl and Alucard was talking telepathically. So that's also a thing, that is a thing. Okay, so basically, they meet the Paladin, and they talk, and he's like, I don't care if the other vampire that was here. He talks in an accent, but when I read it as if you were saying it, it made more sense. And then they start to fight, and it looks like Alucard won, but he didn't win. He got stabbed in the back again, and he's getting owned a bit because like the swords he's using is like blessed or something. Or I would say many knives, but they look like swords, so there's many small swords. And then he also even regenerates when like Alucard hurts him in his forehead. He regenerates, and he's like, yeah, I have to teach myself this to be able to fight you guys. And I'm like, what? But okay. And then they fight, and it looks very dramatic, basically. And then a helicopter lands with Hellsing coming. I don't know, she's going to help, I assume. Something like that. It was basically just a fight. So now we have Order 6, Sword Dancer. It's 3. Sword Dancer 3. I don't know if you can hear that in the background, but right now, the church bells are going off in my town, which is unnecessarily loud. Like, why can I hear it all the way up here? I'm nowhere close to the church. But either way, I just thought it was ominous, like fitting for the chapter. Basically, the police girl is running away because she thinks she's dying. Her name is apparently Sarah's Victoria. I'm gonna totally forget that, either call her Victoria or just police girl, because I think that's funnier. Now she's running away, and then she sees like this message, I think on the ground in blood, says that she should drink Alucard's blood, but she doesn't. She's just like scared, kind of. And then Hellsing shows up. I'm calling her Hellsing as well. Integra, Hellsing, whatever we want to call her. It's like, you are breaking our treaty. This is our jurisdiction. You should leave Peter, or whatever his name was. Peter, the Paladin. And then he's like, oh, you think you can stop me? And then he kills her guards and then tries to kill her. But then police girl shows up and it's like, don't touch her, or something. And then he says like, haha, I killed your vampire, it was super easy. I cut his head off. And then Integra is like, you only cut his head off? That's it? That's what you mean? And then we see like this really ominous scene where lots of like bat shows off and like puts his head back together. And says that they used 100 years to make him the perfect vampire. It's not like one of those vampires. It's a different kind of vampire. So he's very OP apparently. And then he comes in, or like is on his way, I guess. But then the Paladin disappears before that and says that he cannot defeat him that day with the weapons he have. Is one day gonna return to kill Alucard. So he leaves. Now they're just looking at each other. Then they're just like sassing each other a bit, and the chapter ended. And now we are chapter 7, which is which is, if I can turn the page, Dead Zone 1. Okay, the chapter starts out with Integra giving information to the Vatican, saying that like they usually the ghouls are always not virgins, but then that there obviously were young people there that were virgins that were turned into ghouls, that they were controlled by this chip, or like the vampires were, and that when they killed the vampire, all the ghouls didn't die, they were still alive. So there's like something going on. Then we switch over to the house, I guess, the Hellsing house, where the police girl just got a coffin instead of her bed and is very upset about it. And they talk about how she needs to drink blood, but she hasn't yet, and that she feels like something and if she does. Alucard says that she should, and that there may be a place for a timid evening walker like you, because she cannot choose a way the day completely yet. Then we see Alucard and police girl get a new gun each, and then suddenly we switch over to these two characters that are clearly vampires, and they attack the Hellsing house. They kill loads of people that are outside guarding it. They have an army of ghouls with them that starts eating on their man, and they are like owning them really. And then we have Walter, who is the one who like gave them the gun and like fixed the coffin. It seems like become like a butler, I guess, for the house. And they say that I guess Hellsing should go down to the basement maybe, and that Alucard and Walter would take care of the army. And a helicopter was also destroyed. And it seems like Walter has some moves. So let's see how this fight plays out. But yeah, they just showed up and attacked them. Very rude. So now we are on Order 8, or Chapter 8, Dead Zone 2. Okay. So apparently Hellsing is in the meeting with the Vatican in their house. I thought he was far away, but it didn't make any sense if it was like in Italy. So yeah, but either way, he's like, are we screwed? But butler Walter says they're not, and then him and police girl fights like one of the vampires, the dude, and they do really well. They win, and I'm very proud of them. Like, it's basically a fight. I don't need to go into all the details, but they do really well. And police girl's like, ooh, and he had a good move, and Walter was really like, ooh, nice. And then they say like, we were coming, because he's trying to like interrogate him of like if they're being controlled, etc. And he's like, we? He's like, yeah, right now my sister is kicking Alucard's ass. And I'm like, but is she though? Is she though? I don't know, but we shall see in Order 9, Dead Zone 3, if she is. Yay. Okay, so we first have Hellsing and the sister fighting a bit, but then we also switch over to police girl and Walter a bit, where they like losing again because like a new army of ghouls came in, and he managed to run to the room where they were having the meeting. And when he opens the door, he gets like shot many times. But then it seems like Hellsing was like, what? And then like, we don't see what. Like, what the hell? And then we switch over to the sister, Hellsing's fight again. And I think like Alucard's fight. But I think that Hellsing and the sister, they looked very similar. The hair was almost the same. So I almost mixed it up. And they both had the same glasses on. So I thought for a moment that we had Hellsing fighting a vampire, but I was like, but that is Alucard. So I got very confused, but it was just the sister. And Alucard uses like really weird like wolf demon like powers, and is like super shocked. Like, I'm just gonna show you, but it's very bloody. You can kind of see it. And he said, "What are you?" Because like he's using kind of like demon wolves, and one of the foot falls off, and she's like, "What the hell are you anyway?" So it's very shocked about like Alucard's powers. But yeah, why do some of these characters look so similar? That's what I got to say. Order 10, Dead Zone 4. So we're just continuing this fight, I guess. Yay. Alucard won his fight, obviously. And then we switch over to Integra, where they also won the fight now in the end. Police girl did like be a bit stopped by Integra. Was like, you need to stop now. And she stopped and looked very shocked. And then Integra says, take these people out of their misery. But then one of the dudes there was like, Integra, that's your responsibility as their commander, so you should take them out of the misery. And the dude, by the way, the vampire dude, the main dude, was mean. Put himself on fire because he's like, I'm not going to be able to live after this anyway. But he didn't want to say who was behind this. He just said millennium, and we don't know what that means yet. So yeah, I think it's a uncle that's behind this, but that's just me. And then they like need to obviously go and interrogate, etc. And now the last scene is that they are in a graveyard mourning all the people that died in the house, and that they're obviously going to look into this and make sure that this does not happen again, etc. Okay, so balance of power, order 11, balance of power 1. Let's see. Okay, so they talked about how they had 96 staff and there's only 10 left alive, not counting Alucard and police girl because they are not alive. Hellsing hired mercenaries instead of getting military folk because there was too many would be suspicious. And they're like, can we trust them? He's like, yeah, as long as they get paid, it's fine. I'm like, is it though? Is it? And then they're gonna have like the first lesson about like vampires and supernatural creatures. So they bring out police girl and it's like, she's a vampire. And I'm like, oh, like she's not dangerous. And she can flick her fingers. And I kind of give them a beating with flicking her fingers. And she's lowest of the low. I'm really itching on my nose. So like if she can do that, then like how are like the ones above? And then Alucards come through a wall and it's like, hey, what's up? And they all get scared. And then I think they're starting to take them a bit more seriously. We get a letter from the Issacharit agency. Weren't they the ones who sent the father earlier? I actually don't know. I think so, because it's the Vatican section. It's the same number, I think. Okay, so we have Order 12, Balance of Power 2. That was a long chapter. So we have Hellsing meeting with Maxwell, who was the leader of that order in a museum, and Maxwell wants to talk. And first, Integra is a bit mad because like they sent Anderson after them, who was the priest paladin dude, and he's like, well, I don't care, but he's there to give information. And then Alucard shows up and Anderson, and they see each other and want to start fighting because they hate each other. But in that moment, Police Girls comes in with a bunch of people and it's like, oh, here's a museum. And they're suddenly completely still and like they're like part of the museum. And then it says that this is no atmosphere for fighting, and they both leave. One of them is going to bed. Anderson doesn't want to fight him here, so they're both leaving. And that was over, and then both of them were like, stand down, but they just didn't listen. I thought it was really funny. And Integra's like, should we go somewhere else now that we know that we're just here to talk? And Maxwell is sure. And then he tells them information about the Millennium, which was it a mission or an interrogation? It was a secret. The Millennium we know is the name of a project and a military unit. So it's a project and a military unit. They are the ones who carry out the highly classified transfers of researchers and personnel for the Nazis. So they worked for the Nazis under the war. I don't know, is there still a war going? I don't think so. They talked about Millennium is the name of Han Solo's ship in Star Wars. Star Wars came out in the 70s. So like, and they also mentioned that the war was like half a century ago. Not a century, that sounded like a really long time. In the chapter before that again. So like, we are in the future, but they dress as if they are not. So I was really confused because I thought we were like in the 1800s, but it turns out we are not because we mentioned Star Wars and like the war has already been. I thought that the war was coming in the way that they dress, but it's fine. And then the Millennium, that's what they were. And I got all confused, but apparently the Vatican helped. Did they help the Millennium or did they help? I think they helped the Millennium, which means they helped the Nazis, but Italy was for a period, you know, allied with the Nazis, so I guess that makes sense. I don't even know, but they did a lot of stuff. And then we see like Shadow saying like, oh my god, they know about the Millennium, and then we see them discover nonsense they still don't realize a thing. So yeah, we got some answers, but we didn't really get any answers. They don't really know anything. But yeah, as I said earlier, I thought it was connected somehow to World War II. It definitely is. Now we are going to Order 13, Chapter 13, Balance of Power 3. I guess we're going to continue this conversation maybe. I feel like I missed something, but it's fine. So first, we have Alucard and Wolf talking. Apparently, Alucard had a feeling he was them the whole time. We have Police Girl training with the troops. One of them uses a racial slur, which is not great, but she does not like it though, but still. And then we have Walter asking Alucard about why he made her into a vampire and like if he thinks she would drink, and he's like, she will. And they can't cross running water, but they're bringing her in a coffin because they're going to South America, and I didn't get why they're going to South America. Is that where they think that the Millennium is? I didn't get that part. And then she's in a coffin, he's gonna travel, he dresses differently. I feel like Alucard suddenly looked super different. I don't know if it's because he had different clothes, but I thought his face was different. And apparently he does also not disappear in sunlight, he just hates it. And then his orders is to search and destroy. So I assume now I can see in the next chapter we are in Brazil, South America, but I was like, why? How do we know that this is where we're supposed to go? But it's fine. I felt like Alucard suddenly looked very different from them how he looked in the beginning. But that's just me. Maybe he got a new head and that's why he changed. Okay, we are in order 14, elevator action 1. Elevator action? What's gonna happen in an elevator? Okay, so they arrive in South America. And in what was the city? I just want to check the name. I skipped a bit far. Brazil. Hotel Rio. And then when they arrive in a reception, they have like the coffin, and the receptionist try to be like, you shouldn't bring that in here. And then Alucard mesmerizes him, so he has that ability as well. And then they are going to check in, but we see Police Girl's dream for a bit. She dreams about like I'm your gun, the spirit of her Conan, which is the name of her gun. And she speaks a bit to him. And then she is woken up by Alucard, and they are at war. They are surrounded. The hotel is surrounded. They're saying that they have hostages on the roof or something. I don't even know. This is being broadcasted on TV, and I think it is the Millennium saying that so that they can brand Alucard and Police Girl as like terrorists or something. So that like, because I think it's them behind it and they surrounded it. I'm actually a bit confused. It's a very interesting situation, at least. And then we see some people show up and they're ready to take them down. They also call Hellsing about the situation. And we see some people gonna ready to take them down or something. Just see how it goes. So now we're going to order 15, elevator action 2. Also, Alucard has like this symbol thing on his hand. Is that what makes him a servant to the Hellsing? And will that will ever be removed? And where will his loyalties lie then? That's just me theorizing. And also thinking about Sebastian in Black Butler, because that's what he has. We shall see. So a couple of the soldiers do go into the building, and they're like, just like, what's it called? Like a SWAT team almost. And they enter one of the rooms. They find the coffin empty. And they're like, and then Alucard comes out of the shadow and is like, do not touch my coffin. And then they try to shoot him, and he obviously regenerates and then kills them all. You see him bites into the throat and drinks a lot of blood. And then Police Girl comes out from hiding, and she's like, oh, you killed them? Humans? And he's like, yes. Yes. And he has a long speech about they came to us to defeat, to kill, and make us rot away, or to be defeated, to kill and rot away themselves. That is all, that's everything, blah 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 blah. We must kill them. We also, right before that, like before the fight started, we had Hellsing being a bit worried about like, well, humans in general, that they were gonna go after him because he will defend himself, as he knew. But yeah, now we have the next chapter, which is chapter 16, elevator action 3. Let's go. Okay, now I definitely think that the chapters are called orders instead of chapters because Alucard is getting orders from Hellsing. But, so, he calls Hellsing and it's like, what is your orders now? Like, the situation might have changed a bit. I just killed all of these people. First, Intergrath looks a bit shocked, and then she's like, nothing has changed. Your orders was, as I said, kill, search, and destroy. And if things are in your way, you take what's in your way away. And it's very, like, determined on this, even though like all these lies will be on her consciousness. And then Alucard tells Police Girl to take their stuff up on a roof and steal a helicopter. She's like, how? But I guess I will figure it out. And then he's gonna go out the front door to take down all the people outside. I feel a bit bad for them because a lot of the people there are the police just doing the jobs, even though, you know, take down the police, blah blah blah. But like for the fictional case, like they're just maybe got orders that they're doing the job. I think there's actually a terrorist in there, and now they're just being slaughtered. But it's fine. Obviously, I don't want Alucard to die, so yeah. It looks really cool. He comes out, there's a lot of blood, there's a lot of fight. Like, that's basically it. And now we have Order 17, which is Elevator Action 4. But we have still yet to be in an elevator, so I feel like the name is a lie. We shall see. Okay. So this whole chapter is basically just Alucard walking through corpses. I was gonna say, he just walks through lots of soldiers, he kills them. It looks cool. he murders them. He makes them all fall down on the outside of the tile where everyone is, like the press and everything. He makes them all fall down on these, like, I don't know if they're part of the gate or if, like, there's spears he made land there, and all the bodies are just, like, landed on the gates perfectly in sync, and it looks disgusting, obviously. And they're like, everyone outside is obviously were shocked by this. And then we see this random dude with glasses saying, "It's a prepared war declaration. I'm glad it means war. It means we can go to war again. Go to war with a single V, not a double V." Interesting. I don't know what it's spelled like that. But he seems very excited. I don't know who this is. Assume someone we're gonna fight. So we're going to Order 18, Elevator Action 5. Okay, so we have Alucard obviously outside, and he's like, "Come forward, whoever's gonna fight me." And the dude comes forward, named, I think we could call him the Dandy. Is that what they call him? The Dandy, yes. He has a name as well. And he throws cards at him, just like he switches the fates in League of Legends. He reminded me of him. And they're fighting, everything exploding, people are dying. We also have some of the military talking with some other military, I assume the Millennium, and then the actual, like, police force in Brazil. And he's being like, "Oh, this wasn't a deal." And then one of them explodes them, so I feel like they were now betrayed. And Alucard is like, "It wasn't enough for you guys to be defeated once, you obviously have to come back." So I assume he's known with this organization somehow. And then he also says he's happy that find that dreadful agency, like, you still exist today. The Millennium, the last battalion. So like he's known with them, it seems like. And he's very smiling very evilly because he's happy he's getting this fight, I think. With a whole fighting once again. And now we're on Order 19, which there's no title. It just says Order 19. Yeah, Elevator Action 6. A lot of elevator action in not an actual elevator. Okay. So we have Alucard fighting. It's a lot of blood. It's a lot of dramatic blood and stuff. Police girl comes for a point and helps him, but I thought that she was there trying to get a helicopter, but she comes and helps, and it looks cool. And also, all the way in the beginning of the chapter, we had a flashback with Integra talking with her father, and he's talking about why vampires are so powerful, and then she lists up all the things that makes them powerful. But in the end, it was only that they're so powerful. They have so much power, like in their senses and their strength, etc. And then we obviously switch over to Alucard fighting and kicking ass. Then a helicopter comes close, which is with someone else in it that wants to defeat them. But he seems a bit like, hey, yeah, I don't know. You're short on time, hurry up, what are you doing? But I thought that this was so mean. But this is someone with an eye patch. I thought that they work with, like, the others, because that person, I think, was the one who took the bomb with the other police earlier. I didn't know that there was another third person with them. I'm very confused of who this character is, and if it's not just a trick. But it's calling. This person is calling Alucard Sir, so I don't know. I honestly don't know who that is. Come in a helicopter, but it doesn't look like, obviously, police girl, because police girl is standing beside him. I don't know. I assume we'll find out. Was that someone else then that he gave orders to earlier? I need to go back and see. I'm so confused with who this character is. Do we know this character? I was trying to look back and I just don't know. I thought it was one with me, guys. Either way, Order 20, Age of Empire 1. I'm so confused with this chapter. We have Maxwell interviewing, I think, someone. And then it's like, talk about how the Millennium was brought down by Hellsing before. And I was like, I was deceived. There's someone like trying to defend himself, like, please have mercy. And he's like, no. And then the chapter ended. I'm a bit confused of who was who. I don't know. But it's not that important. We can just go to chapter or Order 21, Age of Empire 2. That was a great explanation of what happened. I was just reading it and I was like, whoa, who are you? Who are you? Who is on whose side? No idea. Let's go. I am even more confused now because we have Alucard reporting back to Hellsing, being like, it's all taken care of now. They're all gone. Blah, blah, blah. And then he's like, get back here. He's like teasing a bit that he didn't want to come back at once or something. and that they're gonna steal an airplane. But I was like, so the whole army thing outside, that was him taking care of it, but it didn't get any information. Or was that all of the Millennium, all the people outside? Because there's still another dude who was sitting in like a chair, the one with the glasses that was blonde. He was sitting there like, haha, that was a fun test. So they're not gone. So I was so confused. They just went to Brazil, and then they just kill a bunch of people outside the town, and then they're done? What? I don't understand, but whatever. And then Anderson shows up and punches Alucard a few times. Couldn't resist. And then they're saying that they have a plane ready. The Vatican have a plane. So he's there to get them. I am even more confused by that. What? I don't understand. We are on chapter 22, which is Age of Empire 3. And it's apparently lots of Nazis. How fun. I realized that they're writing not a W, but a single W to show that they're talking in a German accent or something. Or some sort of accent. We have the little blonde dude with the glasses. He is apparently a major. He arrives back at the base. There's a werewolf there that says that they could take care of Alucard for him. And then one of the dudes got mad at him because he's like running out orders or something. And he's like an actor for her. I can't even say like the German word for what they call Hitler. Like their leader. Like, it literally is not that hard to say. I just have forgotten how to say it. Fervor? Acting fervor? I can't say the word. And like, you get what I mean. But someone punches him because he got mad. And then one of the special forces came forward. She has a lot of tattoos in her face. And he's like, the savor joy of war limitlessly for the next war and the next and the next. He's very excited for this. So basically we just introduced the different people that I assume are going to fight Alucard and them later. So we have chapter 23, which is called Call to Power. Okay. First we get a glimpse of a flashback from Alucard's past, where it seems like he's being tortured by the Germans, by the Nazis, and he's crying blood. And then we just see him arrive in like the room with the queen, and Hellsing are waiting for him, and he has met the queen before 50 years ago, but we don't get to see the queen, we just see a shadow of her. I don't know if we will see her later. And then the werewolf just walks into the room, and I was like, how did she get here? Like the werewolf that is working for the Nazis. And then she has this little, like, I was gonna say an iPad tablet where the major can talk to them. And it seems like the major and Alucard know each other from before. And they're like, hello. And now we are on chapter 24, which is Ultima Online. Yay. Okay, so the major just keeps talking to them through this tablet. And it's just like, oh, we don't have a goal. We just want blah, 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 blah. To be honest, I don't even care. No, I care, but like, he's just like have his evil villain speech. And then we see him killing like hostages. So like people on their side. They try to shoot a werewolf lady. And then she obviously heals at once. And then I think the whole tablet actually explodes in the end. And then we see the queen that we don't actually see. She's just a shadow. It says, Sir Hellsing, Alucard, this is an order. Bring them all down. So yeah, there was lots of Nazis in the thing when like he was talking and everyone was grinning and yeah. So this is what they're up against. We have chapter 25. I just want to say the title. D1. Let's go. I don't know why it's getting harder and harder to explain what's going on. First we see Anderson being called back, I think. And then we just see the Nazis being ready to attack someone in the water. And then we zoom into this ship in the water. That is an English ship. British Royal Navy Invincible class Vista aircraft carrier flagship HMS Eagle. And I think that the Nazis is going to try to take it. Then we have Order 26. Which is, I think, just D2. Yes. Let's go. We see people attacking this ship. I am always confused because I thought Alucard was there, but it was just some vampires. There's lots of blood. Wait. But then someone showed up. And then we switch over to the police girl eating dinner. And then she's struggling to swallow food. Hellsing comes in. I just keep calling her Hellsing. And then offers her blood from her finger that she cuts. And then she takes a little lick. And that was it, basically. And now we have Order 27, which is the tree. And with that chapter, I'm done with the first Hellsing, which was very fun, but not at all what I expected. The last chapter was basically just the Nazis preparing for war. They take over the ship. There's a lady there that kills a lot of people. And then we have another evil man speech from the general major dude who just says he loves war and he likes the war and he likes people going out to the war and get killed, and he makes happy and then he yells, war, 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 let's let it be war. And then it ended there. We see them preparing like a huge like airship thing. Now, I did enjoy it. I think it was very fun. I love vampires. I just don't love World War II stories. And I know we're not in World War II, but it feels like World War II because of, you know, the Nazis. And obviously Nazis are no joke and it's obviously very serious, and that it is important to learn about and read about and all that. I just don't care for stories where it's always like, oh my god, the Nazis are the bad guys, kind of plot twist. Like, example, Winter Soldier or whatever it was called, was that even like, that was the Nazis suddenly. And I just like, oh, Captain America, I guess, is more accurate. And I was just like, I don't care. I just think that it makes the story just like, obviously it's gruesome and realistic in a way that it is terrible and had a terrible probably thing in the world that would never go away. I'm not saying it's not important. It's just like, I don't care about stories following Nazis in general. I just like, I think they are, is boring the right word? I feel like it's weird to use the word boring when it's like in real events, but it is kind of boring for me. And now it just became very focused on all the Nazis and like war, 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 and we only care about war. And I'm like, that's so boring. Like, and I wanted more of the vampires and the ghouls and like the vampire part of the story and like more the supernatural part of the story. And now I just got a World War II story with Nazis, but also added with vampires, just like Captain America, which is why Captain America is like one of my least favorite in the MCU because it's boring. That's just my opinion, and I know a lot of people enjoy those kinds of stories, but I don't personally, and it's definitely gonna affect, I think, my enjoyment of this manga series overall. Like, I like more like an epic fantasy kind of setting that obviously takes inspiration from real wars, because that's the world we live in. But I'm not saying I can't read about war. I just, this setup where it's just dude yelling war and then they're all Nazis, and just like, it doesn't give me anything. I'm like, okay, you know, I'm more from like Alucard and Hellsing and their relationship, and like the police girl, how she will develop. I know we will see those parts too, but I just like don't care about all these Nazis skewing more, kind of. So yeah, I felt like that was kind of a bummer a bit for me. That doesn't mean I didn't enjoy. I thought it was very interesting and I liked it. Like, I liked it a lot. I don't see it becoming a favorite like Berserk was, for example. But I definitely see myself enjoying it thoroughly. And I want to see it coming to an end. But I do also think a lot of the characters looked very similar. They all had same hair. So it made me confuse them a bit. So I'm hoping that my brain will be like, okay, you are you. Honestly, they should have just have different hairstyles and I would have been fine. It was, as I said, it's still very enjoyable. I'm sorry if I sounded very negative. I'm just trying to like explain how I felt, because that's what we're doing, we're reviewing. I guess. I don't mean to sound super negative Nelly here, but it's still nonetheless very enjoyable. But I definitely like the beginning better because it's similar in the stuff that I enjoy. And at ending, I was a bit like, I don't care about the evil dude speeches. So yeah, we just see how it develops. There is 2 more, which I now feel like was very little to cover, obviously, this vast story that's been set up with this war. But it's very interesting. Alucard was a very interesting character. I really enjoyed him. He's the type of character that I generally really enjoy. Also really enjoyed Hellsing or Integra. Is that her actual name? I hope so. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave a vampire emoji down below if you enjoyed this. And you should see me soon in a new one. Thank you so much for watching this. And you should see me soon. Goodbye!